Representative Keith Ellison has pledged that if he becomes the next chairman of the DNC, he will once again instate a ban on lobbyist contributions to the Democratic National Committee. Now, this is something that we used to have. The ban began at President Obama's behest, but was overturned by, you might have heard this name before, former Chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz during the 2016 presidential election. And she needed to do this so that during the 2016 cycle, the group of lobbyists that were banned previously contributed $18.7 million to the National Party in 2016, just under 8% of the total money raised. And why would you, I mean, who wouldn't be willing to compromise everybody's view of your dedication to getting money out of politics and fighting corruption if it means that you get 8% more money? I think it's worth throwing your morals in the garbage. Now, Ellison is saying this. Let's give him a chance to explain himself here.
Implementing a ban on donations from lobbyists, the
Yeah.
Democratic National Committee. Debbie Wasserman Schultz quietly lifted it for the 2016 election. Would you support reinstating it?
Yeah, I would. I think it's important that people feel that the party's their party. People need to feel like, hey, you know, this Democratic Party, it's my party. And part of what gives them that sense that it is their party, that they possess it, that they own it, is that they pay for it. So we're going to be asking Democrats to, you know, pony up and help, you know, get us the resources we need to run this party, you know, and because running the party does take money, and there is a pragmatic, perhaps too pragmatic, you know, step that you can just say we'll take money from whatever source and whatever amount. But once you do that, I think you cross a line where people do not feel that the party is really theirs.
So this is a great first step. I don't want anybody getting deluded into thinking this solves all the problems, but at a bare minimum, they got to do this. So first, we're going to ask you to participate. Let's do a petition together to have Keith Ellison's back on this. The petition says, I stand with Keith Ellison and demand that the Democratic National Committee stop accepting funding from lobbyists. So that's at tytnetwork.com/DNC money. That's tytnetwork.com/DNC money. So the reason I say it's a first step is, now remember, as John pointed out, they used to not accept lobbyist money before under Obama. And it wasn't like they weren't influenced by other kinds of money. They could still get money from millionaires, billionaires, corporations. It was just technically the lobbyists who represent those corporations and billionaires that couldn't give them money.
To the DNC
To the
specifically.
DNC,
The
yes.
individual members theoretically could still get that money.
And the independent expenditures and the super PACs and the dark money, all that still exists. But my God, if you can't do this small step that only affects 8% of the money and says, okay, I will not actually physically get bribed by lobbyists themselves, what are you willing to do? So, of course, Ellison's right here. Of course, you should have his back on it. By the way, not everybody running for head of DNC agrees. Perez, who is former labor secretary, well, I guess he's current labor secretary under Obama, says, we shouldn't rule out lobbyist donations.
Rule it out. Yeah, he says that we have to figure out what is the vision of the Democratic Party. Hopefully it's a vision where you're not getting that money from the lobbyists, I would assume.
Yeah, what is that?
So he's not saying that he won't do it, but he's sort of saying that he won't do it.
Yeah, what is the positive vision for the Democratic Party that involves getting in bed with lobbyists? So I'm curious to see what that is. So because I hear from everybody in Washington that Thomas Perez is a super liberal. Like, what are we complaining about? Obama has already anointed him, and you're annoying the dear leader by insisting on Keith Ellison. So why don't you just take Obama's labor secretary and who loves lobbyist money, who's a super liberal? I mean, if Obama and the Washington and Democratic establishment say that he's a liberal, why don't you just believe him as he takes all the money and stuffs it into their pockets from lobbyists? Why don't you believe him? No, I've got no interest in President Obama's pick of who he thinks should represent the establishment at the DNC. Yes, Perez is not putting it in his own pocket. He's putting it in the pocket of the DNC. And are they influenced by the lobbyist money? Of course they are. And so if you want to go back to the Hillary Clinton, Debbie Wasserman Schultz days, where you take all the money, you get corrupted, and you lose elections to monsters, go in that direction.
That's a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
How about one more election? Give it one more try.
Okay.
Here we see.
I almost want the DNC to not pick Keith Ellison so we could just totally destroy it. Like, so the only thing that has a chance of saving the DNC is Keith Ellison and going in a progressive direction and obviously banning lobbyist money. Otherwise, get out the way. Get out the way, man. You think any progressive is going to listen to Thomas Perez and what he says the Democrats should do? I got no interest in that. Nobody's got any interest in that. Have at it, Hoss, and be like, no, but really, the lobbyists say that we should do this. What do you guys think, progressives? What do you think? We think, hell no.
Help us with Operation Watchdog. Help us hire 4 new reporting teams. We could be the watchers on the wall. Make sure we keep Trump and the establishment in check. TYTnetwork.com/go.